Normal week, a league fixture against Falkirk would be a major talking point down Greenock Way. However, this is Scottish Cup week, and despite tonight's tough encounter with the Bairns, thoughts are already straying to Saturday's quarter-final glamour tie with Kilmarnock. Now sitting 14 points behind Dundee for the playoff place, club gaffer Alan McGraw reluctantly accepts that promotion is out of the question.
I think it's highly unlikely. You're only hoping that if you could win all your games, but it would mean Dundee and St Mirren, and that would need to lose an awful lot of games. And I don't think there's anybody in this league that could win all their games from now to the end of the season. And the same thing, I don't think anybody will lose all their games. We've been cutting each other up all seasons, and I don't see that changing, so I think it'd be very difficult.
But reaching the last 8 in Scotland's most prestigious cup competition is no mean feat, and both managers are well aware of the importance of Saturday's match.
It's probably become the biggest match of the season, because we haven't done well in the league. So the only thing we've got is the cup. But people will be kidding themselves on if they think that we should be the favourites, because I don't see how that is. Kilmarnock's the Premier League. There's a league of a difference between us. We haven't done well. If we've been fighting for promotion or being second in the top, then it might have been a tighter game, but we're well down the league. And Kilmarnock are a good side. They've been unlucky a lot of times. I've seen them quite a few times this year. And they play good football, so we can't take it lightly. We're the underdogs, no doubt about it, but we'll give Kilmarnock a good game.
The cup's got its own pressures, as most managers will tell you. But we've had a few run-ins with Morton over the last couple of seasons, and it seemed to be one season I think we played them 5 or 6 times with cup games and whatnot, and this year we've been flung together again, so it'll be good to put my wits against Alan McGraw.
Arguably the player causing Killie the most nightmares is Morton's much sought-after striker, 23-year-old Derek Lilly. Nursing a slight knock, he may be rested for tonight's league game, but he's desperate to savour another quarter-final match for his side.
Yeah, I was on the bench against Celtic, I think it was 4 or 5 years ago, and unfortunately we got beat 3-0, but maybe this time the tables will turn.
It's been a frantic week for the club shop in the town centre, and the local supporters were delighted to give the football show their views on the biggest game of their year.
It's a cup final really, really big one for the town in general. The whole club's buzzing. It's been great in the shop this week, so sell, sell, sell.
Hopefully it'll bring some of our fans back. As we, over the season, during the season, my league display has been very poor. And we've lost a few fans, and hopefully, if we win the Saturday against Kilmarnock, it'll be a big improvement in fans. We'll get some fans back.
They deserve something because they're a good football team, but it's just not happening for them at the moment. But 2-0.
It's a big game, isn't it? It's just the biggest game of the season. Last year we did playoff, so nothing much to look forward to. But we hope to do is get through the cup.
I think we'll beat them 1-0. Derek will like to score.
No, something's very sure to get to the final, which I'm quite confident that they've got the players to do it. If they just get their act together, they can do it. Very confident in that.
Whether they reach the final or not remains to be seen, but both club hero and manager know that in the cup anything can, and usually does, happen.
I think the cup tie throws a lot of things into the game. There's a lot of unexpected events will happen, and hopefully they'll work in our favour.
On a cup, anything can happen, and we're hoping that we're up for it. We will be up for that day, but whether we're good enough to beat Kilmarnock, that's another thing. But it would mean a lot to the town, because when you get into the semi-final, which I regard as the most difficult game in the cup, to me the semi-final is always the nearly teams. If you go out in the semi-final, nobody remembers you. But if you get to the final, then people remember it. So that's what we've got to look forward to. But Kilmarnock's in the same boat.
Alan McGraw there, and Graham, you get the impression that he's quietly confident of maybe toppling Kilmarnock on Saturday.
I think you've read him well. He's a wily old stager, and every year is etched in that face of his. He's bred a good cup team, which has had a difficult year in the league. And I remember watching him in the Coca-Cola Cup against Aberdeen. They were down and out, drew back to 3-3, and only an incredible hat-trick in extra time from Windass put them out. But then they went to Dundee in the last round of this cup and won away. They are a cup team, and that's based not just on fighting spirit, but they've got good players. They need to win this, and I think they can.
Yeah, and the key thing here is that Alan McGraw admitted there that the league seems to have gone. Let's have a look at the table, and we can see Morton on 34 points, and as Katrina pointed out, 14 points behind Dundee. So Jimmy, really, the cup is what he's concentrating on.
Yes, it has to be, and he knows that, but it was good to see Alan again. And like you said, just playing on the fact that they could be underdogs at the weekend, I think if you get your... How do we look out at the start of the season? The form was good and they were up there. If you can get that back, I don't know what's happened recently, but if you can get that back, we've got a great chance. 1 minute he's saying we're underdogs, and next minute he's saying it's all in a day, and and that's what happens.
And the key thing, Graham, is a home tie for them.
Well, they have a raucous, unfriendly support down there, and I think that will make it more difficult for Kilmarnock. But Alan, all joking aside, did read it right. Killie are the Premier side. Morton probably do go in as slight underdogs. It needs big games from Rajamaki, also from Lily and Lindbergh too. They can do it, but I agree with them. They are underdogs.
Yeah, I'd imagine, Jimmy, that Ian Munro will be watching Falkirk tonight to see how they're performing. Big game for Wraith Rovers on Saturday as well, cup tie.
Yeah, it certainly is, yes. And I'm going through the game myself. I've seen Falkirk against Urgy last week. I'm sure Alec in tonight's game against Morton will want to do something, and against us in the cup, hoping to do a wee bit better. But it's a cracking time to come into the place because it's an important league game against Killie tomorrow night and then Falkirk on Saturday. So, and then training with the lads the last couple of days. Good spirit about the place, and you know, I've enjoyed the last couple of days. So.
You've only been back a couple of days, but you feel that they really think maybe they can do something on Saturday, and then suddenly you're in a semi-final again.
Well, it's just like Alan was saying about the season. He's give up hope for promotion. Wraith Rovers can't afford to give up the fight to avoid relegation, but it just keeps your support going. If you get that wee cup on a Saturday, it keeps your support there and it keeps the season going. And you know, so all in all, there's a good atmosphere about the place and a good spirit. And let's hope they can now put all that day-to-day stuff into effect at the weekend. You know.
Yeah, and no.
A photographic memory will tell you Morton last won the Scottish Cup 75 years ago. It's only 68 years since Kilmarnock were winners. The teams of '97 meet up in a West Coast derby, and the stakes and sausages are high for the Capello confrontation. World champion Dave.
There's another intriguing tie at Capello where First Division Morton take on Premier team Kilmarnock. The last time either side won the cup, silent movies and the Charleston were all the rage.
Now sit up and pay attention to your Friday night history lesson. The last time Morton won the cup was in 1922. Wearing blue and white hoops, they beat Rangers in the final. The last time Kilmarnock won the cup was 1929. And yes, wearing blue and white hoops, they beat Rangers in the final. The trouble is, since the Roaring Twenties breathed their last, there's been little cup joy for either side. The current players are all for the fashion of winning, but 70 years down the line, the present-day stars aren't whooping for joy over the old kit. Still, Derek Anderson and Jim McIntyre of Killie and Derek Collins, John Anderson and Alan Mahood of Morton gave it their best shot. Mind you, that lad Mahood's a cheeky chappy.
Kilmarnock boys look not bad in the boots. I don't know if Bobby will need to have a look at them, but I don't fancy playing in their days.
1922 since Morton last won the cup, and it's
very
good. Yeah, I was
commentating
in black and white. What do you think of the 1920s kit? Meanwhile, up the road in Port Glasgow, there's no doubt it's a tie of the round, or should that be the pie of the round? It's Kilmarnock who sell the best pies in British football against Morton, supported by the most flamboyant butcher in the west of Scotland. Tell you what, the stakes are high.
I usually write my board in the morning, and I couldn't think of anything to put on the board, so just for a laugh I put big match prediction, Morton 4, Arbroath 0, and underneath I wrote a £3 of sausage to every customer if this is correct. And here, lo and behold, 4-0 to Morton it was, and the next day we were stowed out the door with people wanting their £3 of sausages.
So how many sausages did you have to give away?
We gave away about £400 or £500 of sausages. I was quite glad it was a Wednesday half day. We promised at the Dundee game, if Morton managed to beat Dundee and get into the next round, then we give every customer a couple of half-time pies free. So lo and behold, we managed to dispose of Dundee's challenge. So
how many pies?
Well, the pies are getting given out this Saturday in quarter-final day. So at the moment we've got about 1,600 ordered, and I don't know if that's going to be enough because it's going round the place like wildfire.
Well, now you're going to be Friday sports, and of course things are going to be worse.
Well, it's frightening. I think we might end up in the Poor's house over this, but if we get to the final it might be worth it.
So what happens if they beat Kilmarnock?
If we beat Kilmarnock, well, we've already promised every Morton supporter in the town that there's a couple of fillet steaks for them if we get to the final. But there's a lot of people in the town that maybe they're not quite Morton supporters, so they'll have to get the scarves of the Tammies on to convince us otherwise, Chick.
So this isn't just a cup tie, it's the battle of the butchers. The Killie pie against Morton mince. And I know, they should have played it at Links Park.
They're good pies, Chick. They're excellent pies.
So Killie won it?
No, maybe. I think a replay as far as the pies are concerned, but when it comes to the football, I think Morton will edge it, Chick.
Every butcher shop cliche you could possibly want. We've a West Coast derby competition for supporters of Morton and Kilmarnock with prizes for both over and under 18s. The main prize centres on the Scottish Grand National at Ayr on the 18th of April. We've got together with Ladbrokes and both team sponsors to offer a day at the races for two, including transport to Ayr, a champagne reception, a stables tour, club stand badges, a VIP dinner and £100 to spend. Can you answer this question? When did Morton and Kilmarnock last win the Scottish Cup? In which years did these two last lift the cup? We've also a prize for under 18s. It includes baseball jackets and caps and a club strip. To win, name the home grounds of Morton and Kilmarnock. Where do those two play? For both competitions, send your answers to West Coast Derby Competition, Friday Sports Scene, BBC Scotland, Queen Margaret Drive, Glasgow G12 8DG. Remember to include your name, address and daytime telephone number and mark your entry either senior or junior competition.
Henry has scored for Kilmarnock, twice in fact, in the match at Capello. Alan Mahood getting two back for Morton in a terrific cup tie, but goals two by Paul Wright and Jim McIntyre for the Ayrshire. Latest score there, Morton 2, Kilmarnock 4. Morton, incidentally, down to 10 men. And in the Premier, a very important... Ritchie has scored again. Remarkable scoring sequence by Paul Ritchie, because that's his 14th in the last 6 matches, his 28th of the season. We hear, by the way, that Jim Henry has scored again for Killie, so it's 5-2 now. There it is, just going through. John Henry, 1 minute from time, his hat-trick, 5-2 for Kilmarnock. Well, enjoy at Capello this afternoon. Morton against Kilmarnock, no fewer than 7 goals. Let's see if Chick can report on every one of them.
Good afternoon indeed again. Kilmarnock go through to the semi-finals of the Tennant Scottish Cup. 5-2, the eventual out winners. A hat-trick from John Henry. Paul Wright chipped in with 1, and so too did Jim McIntyre. It seemed all over by half-time. Kilmarnock were in cruise control, 3-0 ahead, and Steve McCahill sent off for Morton just before half-time. Kilmarnock, we thought it was all over, but Morton battled back with fine style. 2 goals for Alan Mahood, set up a thrilling finish, but Kilmarnock scored 2 more. 5-2. Finally, the Kilmarnock fans, like these fans of Falkirk we heard a moment or two ago, singing and dancing and celebrating. They're into the semi-finals. Brave Morton are out. Full time at Capello. Morton 2, Kilmarnock 5.
Morton 2, Kilmarnock 5, 7 goals, and this really a thrilling cup tie this afternoon at Capello. This then, the story of it. Quite simply, the gulf between these two sides was there for all to see in the first 45 minutes of this match. Morton were hit once, then twice, and then 3 times in the first half as the roof well and truly came in on them. Goal 1, a corner to Killie. It came back off the post in a bizarre fashion, this. It rolled into the path of John Henry and he cracked it in. 1-0 Kilmarnock. And then Paul Wright inside the box, he knocked it past Reilly and he made it 2-0 Kilmarnock. And then before Morton really could recover, it was 3-0. Jim McIntyre squared it to Henry, and that was it. 3 goals, a blistering, pulsating first half from Killie, and there were 3 up. And as if that wasn't bad enough for Morton, Steve McCahill was red carded for a horror challenge right on half-time on Paul Wright. So half-time, 10 against 11, Morton had it all to do. So what would they do? What could they do in the second half? Well, Alan Mahood pulled them right back into this match, 3-1, and then Mahood again made it 3-2. All of a sudden the fight back was well and truly on. But just as you thought that, Killie hit them again, twice, and how punishing this was. Jim McIntyre made it 4-2 Killie, and then John Henry got his 3rd, a great hat-trick for Henry, and Killie's 5th. 5-2 in the end. A great performance from Killie, a brave performance from Morton, but it wasn't enough. Clinical Kilmarnock go on. Morton 2, Kilmarnock 5.
Yeah, and after the match, Jim White spoke to Killie goalscorer Paul Wright, but first his delighted manager, Bobby Williamson.
Especially first half, we got our goals and I was delighted because recent weeks we've been playing well but not getting the finished product. Today, John Henry's done well, he's got back in the box again, he's got a couple of goals and that was brilliant. The early goal settled us and then Morton had to come at us and we left a few spaces at the back. Just say, we played well first half and got the 3 goals.
You went at them right from the start, and the 3-goal lead, that certainly was a big cushion. Did you think it was over at that stage?
Yes, I did, to be perfectly honest, I did, especially when Big Steve gets sent off just before half-time. It was one of the tackles. Paul had just played away and his momentum carried him through. Paul's actually struggling at this moment in time, but the referee made his decision. You just got to go on with it, and I thought, well, that's it, 10 minutes surely. But as I said at Kilmarnock Football Club, we never make it easy for ourselves. I've been here 6 years now. I know the history of the club and it's always been a fight all the way to the end. Even when it looks like we're going to be coasting, we always make it difficult ourselves. I feel sorry for our supporters, we keep on putting them through the mill.
You got one yourself, but it hasn't come without its cost because Steve McCahill clattered you this afternoon and you eventually came off. He was red carded. How are you placed now? Because the Celtic game looms.
Yeah, that could be touch and go for the Celtic game. It's going to be a big one for the club, you know. We're hoping to start a run and maybe cause an upset on Tuesday night. But, you know, it'll be touch and go. Hopefully it'll be there.
What does this mean for Kilmarnock, do you think, Paul, at this stage in the season, to be in the semi-final of the Cup?
Well, it's been a long, hard season. We'll not be doing too well in the league. We had a wee break today, and hopefully maybe this will carry on into the league games and we can hopefully escape relegation and maybe push ourselves up on the table.
There were just 13 minutes on the clock at Capello when Kilmarnock took the lead. Jim Bagan whipped in a corner from the left, Morton were in distress, and John Henry finished with a little help from the crossbar. Capello at near capacity and the sun shining on the Killie fans. However, Morton did rally 24 minutes on the clock, and Derek Lilly inspires a wonderful save from Drago Lekovic. And 2 minutes after that, Warren Hawke had a chance, but the Lekovic acrobatics were unnecessary this time. But it was all beginning to go Killie's way. They went 2-0 ahead, and this time Henry, the scorer of the first goal, turn provider. A delightful turn inside the box, and Paul Wright says thanks very much. Few more singing and dancing. David Reilly was clearly in for a busy afternoon, and he was up for it. That was a fine save from a Jim McIntyre effort. 2 minutes later though, Killie looked as though they could apply cruise control. Jim McIntyre took advantage of over-relaxed defending by Morton and served it up on a plate for John Henry. He gratefully accepted his second of the afternoon, 3-0 Killie. And at the threshold of half-time, Morton were down to 10 men. Steve McCahill given his marching orders for this tackle on Paul Wright. The Greenock frustration was showing. But what a difference a half-time talk makes. 10 minutes after the break, and Alan Mahood produced a glorious piece of skill. A wonderful run, a superb finish, and Morton suddenly were raised from their slumbers. And they were really alive and kicking 9 minutes after that. Less subtlety about this goal, but a lovely near-post header coming up. And again, Mahood, the tormentor of the Kilmarnock defence. Much great joy in the director's box and in the terracings. And Mahood in the mood to inspire the comeback of the tournament. But it was not to be. Jim McIntyre triggered a move which sent Alex Burke away down the left. And McIntyre's left foot finished it all off. Relief for the Kilmarnock fans, and McIntyre left no one in any doubt just who had turned the tide back Killie's way. And the bottom line, 4-2 Kilmarnock. There was though a little bit of icing on the Kilmarnock cake. It was the completion of John Henry's hat-trick. A fine far post header wrapped up his afternoon, but substitute Tom Brown nearly stole his thunder by trying to get a touch on the line. No hard feelings from the scorer though. He understands the striker's eternal greed for goals.
When I got the head onto it, I thought it was going right into the net, but the wee man sort of tried to pull it away, it was telling me, but just striker's instinct for him, you know, so I don't bother with these kind of things.
Did you think that game was over by half-time? Do you think you were cruising into the semi-final?
Well, somebody had mentioned that in the dressing room at half-time check, and they get shot down, because in this game anything can happen, and you've seen there that Morton got back into it, and it took a good finish with Big McIntyre to sort of secure the win for us, you know, so they made us sweat a wee bit.
But you are in the semi-finals, the job will be made Monday. Who do you fancy?
It's got to be, you're hoping that you avoid Celtic check and just take it for there.
Well, that would make a possibility of Falkirk and your old gaffer Alex Taunton.
Yeah, the way the cup goes, that's possibly something that could happen. But as I say, if we avoid Celtic, then anything can happen, and hopefully it'll give us a lift for the league campaign.
Yes, terrific action there at Brockville and at Capello. The Tennant Scottish Cup semi-final draw is live on Reporting Scotland Monday night at 6:30. And I suppose people will say, well, we want a Celtic Dundee United final, Eamon, but if it comes out with those two meeting in the semi, then what an incentive for Falkirk and Kilmarnock.
Well, it is a great incentive. I think we said that in the last round. I mean, I was delighted with the Falkirk result today. I know a lot of the players, how important it is to them. The standards are set.
I don't think it was a major surprise because I think the bottom of the Premier League and the top of the First Division are quite close. Raith are struggling a bit, and to go to Brockville is very, very difficult. But I was delighted to see Findlay. But financially for the club, it's a big, big thing as well. Yeah. And Kilmarnock, they're struggling as well at the bottom of the league, and ironically could get to a Scottish Cup final, which again, financially and all the other reasons, I'm sure they would swap it to avoid the relegation trapdoor. But what an incentive for these clubs, the small ones, get with an opportunity like this.
Do you think it really is a case of there not being very much difference between the top end of the first and the bottom end of the Premier?
I think that's definitely the case. I think perhaps early on in the season, when everyone's tails are up in the Premier League, there may be a bigger difference. But certainly just now, when you're in the Premier League and you're losing week in, week out, the confidence of the players can go down. And obviously, the opposite happens in the First Division when you're winning and you're winning regularly. The difference is marginal, if at all.
Well, we shall see how that draw works out on Monday night. But meantime, there was only one match played in the Premier today. Hibs collected 3 invaluable points with a 1-0 win over Dunfermline. Keith Wright's goal gave Jim Duffy's side their first league win in 11 matches and lifts them now 5 points clear of Kilmarnock alongside Motherwell on 29 points.